Hi everybody, Miro from Park Bench Plainfield here. Welcome to your community website where we share and feature the stories of business professionals who live, work, or play in the Plainfield area. Today my guest is Dottie and she owns an art studio right here in downtown Plainfield. I hope that you find her story interesting, so enjoy it. Hi Dottie, welcome to Park Bench Plainfield, and once again thank you so much for allowing me to visit your studio today and for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your story with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure, and it's definitely a very charming place, folks. If you've never been here, I highly recommend that you visit it.
Yes.
How did you get into it, and when did you realize that you had so much passion for it?
Well, so many people that know me know this story. When I was little, I was sick all the time. I missed like 50 days of first grade. And my dad, I really think that if things would have worked out differently, he could have made it good in the art field. He was very talented. But back in those days, you know, the man had to go to work. He went to school for a little while, not even finished for art. And then he had to raise a family. So he became an art teacher. And so when I was sick at home, there wasn't Cartoon Network and all that stuff on back in those days, you know.
Right.
So I would just sit there and draw, and my dad would help me and teach me how to shade and different things like that. So that's how I got into it. And then when college came along, I've always wanted to be a teacher. Always. Ever since I was little, that's all I'd play as teacher. You know, bring the neighbor kids over all the time, and poor things, I'd make them do a bunch of worksheets. And yeah, and it wasn't until I'd say just a year or two out of college, once I finished, that I started working at this old Larson's Palette and Frame on Jefferson Street in Joliet, the Park District at Joliet, teaching kids art. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. And so then it was then that I started getting a bit of a following, and I decided to start this thing called the Junior Art League. I just came up with a name, and it's grown so much. I'm up to 100 students now. And
how did Dottie's art studio come to be? Was it born out of what you started in Joliet?
Sure. So I taught. You know, I have 3 kids of my own. I started it out of my home in the basement, and I would only have 10 kids in a class, and I think I had maybe 30 students at the time. And I loved it. We would go on field trips, a lot of times to Chicago, the Art Institute, architecture tours, different things like that. We'd always have an annual art show, but back then I was doing 2 art shows. I was doing a holiday one and a end of the year one. I've always had visiting artists come. You know, it's not something they have to do, but it's just something for kids that are interested in staying with art, that visiting artists can come in and say the different, you know, so they can find out the different facets.
It gives them another source of reference.
There you go. And it's just neat to, it's not always I've got to just paint pictures if I want to go into art when I grow up. So I've always done all that. And I taught for 5 years, I'd want to say. And then I got pregnant with my daughter at the time. And it was a lot of work when you're running around with the 2 boys, you're pregnant, and then teaching. And so I went ahead and I quit the Junior Art League. You know, that was a hard decision because I had already started to build it, right?
Right.
And so while I was raising my kids, I was just a substitute teacher, and I would do portraits. I do watercolor pet portraits. I do a lot of regular, you know, people portraits, baby portraits. I've even done semis and houses and different things like that.
Cool. Very
so it's the stuff I did for a while. I have this good friend. Her name is Cheryl Close. She knows everybody in the whole world. I mean, she's one of those social butterflies. Everybody loves her, and she knows everybody. So I was a little sad when my mom had passed, and so she's the one who got me started again. Hey, my son wants to take classes. Get going, get going. So I started it up again with like 7 kids in my basement.
In your basement.
Yeah, and that lasted for several years until my own children grew up and left. And that's when I opened a studio down there. It was only 500 square feet. And
what year was that?
Oh, it was 5 years ago, roughly 5-6 years ago. It was 14.
Okay.
14, so it was 5 years ago. And I was feeling really comfortable. Things were great. My students had grown to 70. It was awesome. And so it was September 4th of last year that the resident was not real happy with the landlord, and he set fire to the building.
Oh.
The gal that used to have this place, she had it for 10 years.
Right.
My biggest competitor in town, you know, and she was open for 5 years longer than me. She had all kinds of teachers, and I mean, she had the market on it. You know, I was just a little guy down the way.
Of course, yeah.
Well, she closed her doors on September 1st. The fire happened on the 4th. It was like, oh, you know, kind of a God moment. So this was the only place conducive to starting 70 kids in less than 2 weeks' time. For art, my junior art league goes year round. It goes from September to the May, you know, and it's my livelihood. That's how I make my money. So
funny how things work out. I mean, the timing, I mean, out of one unfortunate event comes out something, you know, that has really worked out, not just for you, but for the kids as well, which is what this is all about, really.
Yes.
So what specific services do you offer right here at Dottie's Art Studio?
We had to expand in order to be able to stay here, because this is now 3,000 square feet opposed to 500. So with that goes a lot more rent, right?
Oh,
so
sure it
in
does.
order to
Absolutely.
be able to stay, you had to expand. So we offer the Junior Art League, which is now up to 100 students, and I want to just say a little bit about that. What's unique about that is that it's not a 4 or a 6 week class that students sign up for. It is kind of almost like a club as well as a school, right? Because they'll learn all the basic elements, your shading and composition, some color theory when we get into painting. My biggest goal always when I was in my 20s was to present the kids to as many, or expose them to as many different mediums as possible, right? That's my biggest goal. We always have a theme. It's different every year. So I like to touch on art history as well. We don't like overdo it where the kids get bored, but it's nice to just plant little seeds so that if they do go into it, then, hey, I've heard that name before, you know, things like that. We meet for 2 hours a week, and we, like I say, do all these different mediums, and we have 2 field trips a year. We have an annual art show at the end of the year. We have volunteer opportunities where kids can get in on face painting for Casa of Joliet for their Holiday Express. We'll go to senior citizen places and draw or paint next to a senior citizen. So those are good things that help kids to start thinking outside of themselves sometimes, you know. And we also have those visiting artists, like I had mentioned before. So it's kind of like a club. I've had some kids coming to me for 10 years straight, and I even had 2 young ladies go on to be college roommates because they met here, you know. A lot of kids will still stay in touch with me, which is so nice, you know.
Well, when you make such a strong connection, it really means something.
It is,
it's pouring out of your heart. I can tell it's coming out of your pores.
Thank you. I love the kids. I love the kids. I do. It's just, it's a gift in my life, that is for sure. So that's one of the things we offer. We also have the 4 or 6 week classes as well for kids. Miss Chocolate is one of my teachers' names, and she is so good with the kids. I mean, so good. She is a ray of sunshine anywhere she goes. She really is. I admire her so much for that. And so she teaches those. She also does a lot of the antique window classes for adults, or maybe chairs, you know, the old chairs that you sand down and you make them look fun. Excuse me. She does those. So she offers that. She also helps me with the Junior Art League. She's very good with the little kids. Then there's Nader Bataya. Man, I mean, all this artwork, maybe you could scan it sometime. Not the bunny, not this, but like all the oil paintings.
We'll definitely snap some pictures and share with the folks so they can take a look at it.
Yes, because he is incredible. I have been taking his oil painting classes just for fun, during the summer. The man is incredibly talented. He did a portrait of my father. It's right on. I mean, it looks identical. It's downstairs. He's just an amazing artist. So he teaches oil painting here, and he teaches art a la carte is what he calls it.
Okay.
And it's a mixed medium thing for adults or young or older teens, So
Right.
that's what else we have. We have adult classes during the day. I teach, for those people that aren't working anymore and want to expand their art horizons. We also have about 7 or 8 different consignment artists. We have 2 stained glass artists, a ceramic artist, an acrylic, an oil painter, a photographer, a pour painter. I don't
It
think
truly
I'm
is a
leaving
full
anybody out.
service
Trying,
studio.
that's right. A ceramic class that we'll be having coming up. We even offer figure sketching now on Saturday mornings. We'll have a portfolio building class in February. So I pretty much think that does it.
Right. What is the greatest challenge when
Well,
it comes to running a business, when it comes to arts and studios and all the different services and so many different people that you're working with and coordinating with? What is your greatest challenge?
I want to preface it by saying, instead of, because you had mentioned all the different people I'm working with, that has been another blessing. I've met the coolest people, And I also want to just say too, my, challenges and things that you're talking about, right, would be staying organized. It would be getting the word out. I mean, so many times people come in, hi, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Oh, we're interested in this. So you make it happen, you make a class happen, and then nobody signs up. So that's very frustrating, right? That's a challenge. But another challenge would be staying organized. And this gal I've got working for me, Janine Gudak, I couldn't do it without her. She's amazing. She's very organized. She's very savvy with knowing all the different technical stuff with Apple products. And so that helps me tremendously. I mean, she has brought me so far, and she's only been working for me maybe 2 years now. So, she's a gift, I'll tell you.
Match made in heaven.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what are you working on right now? What are your goals for the next year? Because you don't have your hands full, right? I mean, I'm just curious.
Another challenge for me is doing all the, not only lesson planning, but coming up with different ideas. We teach at Wine and Cheese twice a month, and coming up with ideas. And we've been lucky enough, we've hired some really great people recently. I'm just really, again, feel very lucky. But that hinders my progress on some of the things that are my goals. One of my goals, I got hired maybe five years ago, probably six years ago, to do angels for the ceiling at St. Denis and Lockport.
Okay.
And I'm still working on them. I got hired to do 9. I was on a roll in the spring, because you got to figure, you open a business, I moved, there's just so many little things that kind of set you back during this time, okay? And then the fire happens, so it's like once you're getting on a roll, getting these angels done, then there's another setback. But it's also running this place is just constantly. So I've been working on 9 angels for 6 years, and Janine, who I mentioned before, she's like, hey, it only took Michelangelo 4 years to do the Sistine Chapel. What's wrong with you? So my goal is to get those finished. Another goal I had is to get some more help, and I think we got there. I think I got some great people too. I mean,
It sounds like
so
you're
excited.
definitely surrounded by amazing people.
I am.
You're very grateful for them. I can definitely see that. When you've been in business or doing something for a while, as human beings, our tendency is to kind of burn ourselves out a little bit. How do you maintain this high level of energy, and what motivates you? What keeps you going?
I went away for 12 days.
So folks, make sure that you take time to rest. It's very important. Work hard, but then take time to rest.
That's right. That's right.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I think that's the key. That's the key, right? Yeah.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you gotta go, you go, go, go. And when it's time to pull back, take a step back and truly shut down the engines.
Yes.
Recharge, get back to that great place. And when you're ready to go, then go again.
There you go. That's right. And you're ready to do it when you do that. You know, when you're, like in this case, when I went away for 12 days, I was ready to get back.
Dottie, I have a question that's related to your services that you provide here. Let's say somebody wants to get a painting done. What does that process look like? How do they go about doing that?
Sure. We have that occasionally, and we have more artists than ever now that can help. Now we have Nodder, who can do commission work in oil. I do commission work in watercolor. One of my workers, Lynn, Miss Chocolate, she can do commission work in acrylic paint. So, and then these couple of new gals that I've hired too, they're quite capable. So all you gotta do is just come in and we talk about it and go from there.
Go from there. Just reach out and there will be plenty of assistance and help given back.
That's right. There you go. I do want to mention one other thing.
Absolutely.
My junior art league, I never mentioned the ages. We have them anywhere from 4 years old all the way up to 18. Okay. So it's, and they're broken up according to ages in classes, so yeah.
Which makes it more streamlined and probably keeps the little groups more focused and interesting because they're with their own peers.
Absolutely, yes.
Once again, Dottie, I just want to say how thankful I am for inviting me again to your studio and really sharing your story and giving us a chance to get to know you a little bit because I can see how much this matters to you and how personal it is. And folks, for those of you out there who would like to find out more information about Dottie and what she does, all you have to do is scroll down to the bottom of the page and you will see all the different ways that you can connect with her. And for those of you who would actually like to share your story and get featured on our website, all you have to do is go to www.parkbench.com/Plainfield and click on the request interview icon and we'll take care of the rest. So thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.